All right, we got our parts laid out in the way that they're going to go on. That's what I would recommend. Just make sure that you've got everything laid out. You can see that this aluminum tubing has been used in the first few productions of this to try to figure out how long the frame is going to be, if everything's set just right, and we've changed it over time. Aluminum's expensive, so I'm just going to keep reusing this until I have everything dialed in and I don't want to change it anymore. Then the holes that have a lot of, or the tubes that have a lot of holes in them, I'll eventually replace those. But for right now, it's fine. So we're going to take the swing arms, we're going to move those over. They're going to be one of the last things that we put on, so I'm going to put them over with the hoop segments. You'll notice here on these tubes, I've inserted the snaps. Anyway, insert the snap, push it in there, and then take a screwdriver, something where you can press it back until you get it even with that hole. You can see it's getting pretty close. We're getting the snap close to where we want it. Just make sure you don't push it past there because it's hard to get them to go forward, and just snap that into place. So you want the angled edge, the open end facing this way, the closed end, smaller end going in. Just slide that in, it snaps in. Exactly where the swing arm needs to go. There we go. So we got that one into place. By laying this out, you'll know you have the parts on the right side. Same thing here. Get the swing arm into place. I'm going to slide this one on. Go. Slide that one on. So we have a little bit of spacing there. Now the engine mount that I used, I just randomly drilled those holes for that top 80 engine. We were using DLE 170, and that's the reason these are offset, just how I had to do it on the fly, so they're not perfectly centered like they'll be in the insert the other top frame tube. But I'm going to put one of these on so I can slide it over to give us room to be able to slide it into place. Or used carbon fiber, or made these connections stronger. This is just for assembly. I would not fly it with 3D printed material. So we got that on. Now let's come down here. We'll slide the support tubes into place. This is for the gas tank. Those were somewhere right around there. You can see where the bolt holes were. Get those lined up. For the gas tank strap that I used, we're going to put the bottom connections on here. I'll go ahead and slide that other support tube into place. Place that on. Get those flush. Slide in side base tubes. So once you put those two on, it'll help you get that kind of lined up. And there may be way better ways of putting this together. Get it down, get it even with that, and then insert it into there. Do the same thing over here. Slide that into place. Get it down where it needs to go. It'll help you get that lined up. All right, so I found it's easier just to snap these in place, and that way you'll know which side is correct. The shorter side is going to go to these spar hoop connections, and we're using the older spar hoop connection right now. I am printing off the newer one. There we go. Get that popped in. You don't need to really measure it here. That's going to fall down, I know it. All right, longer hoop segments. Let's see, the longer ones are going to go on top. Shorter ones are going to go on the bottom. Let's start with the short ones first. I want to make sure I get that in all the way. Now, this is the reason we have these where they'll slide back and forth. And I've actually found it's way easier to insert it here, get it where you want, and then place it in here. Fits in way better. So connect here, get to the angle I want, and it puts far less stress on those connections that haven't been reinforced by carbon fiber. There we go. There, got that one. Make sure that goes all the way to the bottom. These get lined up and that'll slide right in. Let's take this bolt off. We're going to use a stainless steel bolt. This is nickel plated. We're going to run that all the way through. So we're going to run this all the way through. We've already got one bolt. Get this pressed all the way through. We'll slide this other one on with another washer. Put our locking nut with washer on this side. I don't have a washer for it right now, but I will. And then run that down, tighten it down. But you don't want to tighten it down so tight that you can't move the swing arms. So we'll run that down. So those swing arms should be movable. So they should move in and out. You notice here I've got an area where a strap can go around this area here. So I've got it set so a strap can go around here, and that's where your carabiner would be set. You could set your hang point. But that's it right there. That's our frame. This is our first assembly just to test out those connections. Again, those connections need to be reinforced, either carbon fiber, fiberglass, and there's some newer methods that I'm working on to be able to make these connections stronger. Eventually one day, when 3D printed metal is cheaper, more affordable, these could be printed off that way. But right now we're just testing out the assembly. It's about a 1/2 inch thick, but I'll cut it down. So this is my top 80 where I cut those plates and left a big distance. We don't have these measurements yet. In Onshape I did the DLE 170, but this is how I'm using that material to plate it on as an engine mount. So I like this better because it's lighter weight. If you remove the material in between, it's even lighter, and this is plenty strong for our needs on this engine.